Yo guys, okay, so we've been waiting for a pullback in Bitcoin. Today we have a stock market pullback, gold pullback, silver pullback, Bitcoin pullback. We have a oil pump and we have a Dixie move to the upside. So lots to speak around today. Now I got two scenarios I want to speak around with Bitcoin. We actually hit a zone with a bit of bullish divergence. So there might be a bounce in this area right now. When I want to speak around the scenario we've been waiting for is the early 60,000. So I'm Sheldon, welcome to Sniper Trading. Let's jump straight into it. So the first one I want to speak around is stock markets. The stock market started actually losing this wedge. Here we go. So as you can see, uprising wedge, bit of a bearish pattern that we've seen in play. And we actually lost it today. So we had a little bit of news from Trump. Things are not looking too great around in the world, and markets has not reacted pretty good to this. Now, again, we've been waiting for a pullback. Right, when it comes to S&P and the stock markets, we've just begun. Now, the warning signs are we have lost this wedge. So for us to say that dump is kind of over, we need to get back inside of this and show that it's basically a little trap that's coming to play. But if not, we are very much looking at possibly more downside, right? And for me, if I look at this, supports are sitting down in this area over here, if not slightly lower down. So we could be seeing another 2-3% move down. But if you look at S&P, it's actually still holding pretty decent. But nonetheless, we got support down in this area over here, which I will show you a bit of percentage-wise, right? It's around 2 to 3%. And then we do have the worst scenario where things escalate very much. We still have another 5 to 6% to go to the downside, right? When it comes to the Dixie, Dixie's moving up, right? Well, was moving up a little bit earlier, did break out. So there's one more trend that it's getting stuck at the moment. Is this one over here. Okay, and I'm waiting to see if we lose this bottom trend in the next 24 hours. So again, it did break through this midterm trend over here. Now we're sitting this wedge over here. We have seen a oil bounce, right, to the upside over here. And again, the big ones to pay attention to is we've seen a gold drop. We actually had a nice, strong gold drop. I think gold's actually getting to buy areas, to be honest. I'm waiting to see if we can get a higher low over here. And I do see as a possibility of a gold push to around 4,400, 4,500. So charts are kind of indicating for me that the pullback is probably around 2 to 3% in stock markets, and then we should see some strength, right? Unless things really escalate, then we could see more downside. But for now, things are telling me that, it kind of agrees with our Bitcoin thesis, right, of a little bit lower down and a higher low play. But that's it for now. So again, just to clarify here, we do have these supports incoming. We'll see how we react here in the next couple of days. But if we bounce here, very likely we're going to see a bounce all over the place, which means we get to Bitcoin now. So here's Bitcoin. So the first scenario I want to speak around is we actually hit the possible temporary bottom. So the first important thing here is us looking, just get to the right time frame, right, at the breakout of trend that we had recently, right? We had the breakout and now we've actually tested it. So the first wick came in, we bounced up, and now we've come down and actually hit the trend perfectly, right, to the dollar. Okay, then what we have is the 0.5 Fibonacci, which basically means it's halfway. So we pumped and we went halfway, right? Mid-range can definitely be a bounce zone, as well as the 618, which is a 60% pullback of the previous pump, right? We've hit that zone. So we do have a Fibonacci. We do have a trend line support, and we do have some horizontal support on the left-hand side over here too. So there is 3 indications, but the important one to pay attention to is the possible bullish divergence, right? So we can see a lower low on price, higher low on higher low on price, and you can see lower low on the RSI. So these are doing the complete opposite, which means that we could actually be seeing a strong bounce from this area, right? This is what divergences usually mean. If we do, however, lose the 61,100, right, then the divergence is no longer there, right? So it's kind of important to see. Now, for me to validate this as being the bounce zone, I need to give the market a little bit of time. So if you look at the 2 highs we made recently on the 4-hour time frame, right, you can see there's a little bit of space towards the trend line, right? So basically telling me around 2 days. Okay, so it does look like the market may take a little bit of time from this. Okay, but what we want to see here for a bullish scenario from here is a push up, a higher low, and a breakout in the next 2 days. Right, that's the play we want to see. So for me, something like this, I'll kind of wait for longs on that signal over there. Right, until then, I'm kind of keeping to the first play, right, which is the liquidity sitting lower down over here at the low 60,000s. Right, so we're going to have a look here. That is still where the 618 is sitting over here, with tons of really strong horizontal support in this area over here. Right, so when it comes to this play here, that I'm paying attention to, right, is even though we're seeing the divergence, this is the bearish side of things now, right? So the bearish side is we're actually on the other side of the trend line, and we're at straight resistance. We have these lows over here, which is direct resistance of where we are now, okay? And we obviously have the trend line in the zone over here. So this one very much indicating over the next day or two, we see this happen, right? Then we see bounce off, and then we start to see some strength to the upside. If things get pretty bad and Bitcoin and the stock market wants to go to the lower areas, we could be seeing a $59,000 Bitcoin over here. What I do want to see, however, is once we make this high, we should get a nice trend in play here. And that can be a nice triggering trend once we've hit the zone and showing strength on these areas over here, right? When it comes to the USDT dominance, just looking at crypto as a whole, right, we have hit resistance. We are on the other side of the trend, which means at any point we should start another leg to the upside within the market. Remember, when this chart's going down, it's bullish for the market. But as you could see, there is still tons of resistance sitting slightly higher up. So the play for me for now is a little bit higher up over here, a little bit more pullback into the markets, gives a really good risk to reward, right, when it comes to the trade setups. So again, something like this. Let's just go to this chart setup here, right? Really gives us a strong play on where to protect ourselves on these positions, right? There's two kind of setups here that I'm looking at, right, with nice stop loss areas, but good risk to rewards. And then that's kind of the plays that I'm looking at. So when that gets to altcoins itself, let's go to altcoins over here. Also actually close to the 618. They're nearly there. Let's just get the correct trend in. Let's draw up a fresh batch of analysis here. So there's the breakout, right? The horizontal supports. We actually did hit the one support, okay, which does mean there is a little bit of strength here possibly for alts, but we have these supports over here. And if we put in Fibonacci points, we've hit the 618, and the biggest 618 is sitting over here. So again, alts should actually hold pretty nicely if we do have a continuation of Bitcoin down, but short-term bearish, something like this, to a strong buy up, okay, and bullish from here is push up, higher low, and move to the upside. Bitcoin dominance, right, it's a little bit in favor here when it comes to Bitcoin for the day, but higher time frames actually looking pretty bearish and for a possible push to the downside. So once we get through this little patch, we could actually see a very strong altcoin rally. I'm still waiting lower down for ETH. I'm still waiting lower down for Solana, right, at the mid-70s. I'm still waiting lower down for things like AVAX, right, lower down for things like Render, right? So for me, patiently, right now, waiting for slightly lower down, okay? But it's interesting to see some bullish divergence in place. So let's give it 24 hours. I'll get back to you in tomorrow's stream, see how things go. For now, bearish until we hit the main targets we have been waiting for. Bearish on stock market, bearish on gold for now. And I'll update you guys on tomorrow's stream. Thank you for watching. So sub up, like up. Let me know in the comments what charts you want me to chart tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Bye.